to the main point. Firstly, they came here and they spoke about the finance issue. Where is the money going to come from? Ladies and gentlemen, government is already spending $3 billion on UIF last year, meaning that there is money put in place for UIF. So we are not saying let's take money from different sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, it's already there as it stands. The sector is there right now. So we are not taking funds from anywhere. The funds are in FCA. So ladies and gentlemen, the fact of finance, I'm going to in this debate as well. They also spoke about the productivity and the fact that it's going to be minimal. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where we need to be rational thinkers. In the work setting, we have an employer, we have an employee. Your duty as an employer is to ensure that your employees work. So ladies and gentlemen, what am I saying here? Basically, you're going to have a supervisor ensuring that you work. If you're not going to work, you're not going to get the money. Therefore, it's the supervisor's duty to ensure that you are productive. So ladies and gentlemen, there won't be minimal productivity because there is somebody supervising, ensuring that these people are working effectively and ensuring that the work gets done. So ladies and gentlemen, productivity being minimal does not exist in this debate. The next point, they mentioned the fact that we are making them work twice. Ladies and gentlemen, again, my first and second speaker highlighted to you that the employer contributes 1%, employee 1%. The rest comes from government. So how are you working twice? What about the government's contribution? By you giving back to society, what you are doing is basically you are saying, yeah, government, I know you are giving me money, let me pay you back with my time. Let me try to do something for the community. Let me try to help the government as well. So ladies and gentlemen, I feel that the government's large contribution was not mentioned by them. They totally ignored it. All they looked at, not accepted, all they looked at was that contribution, that 1% made by the employee. And ladies and gentlemen, that is not a practical way of thinking. So ladies and gentlemen, basically what we're saying is that if government's going to give you money, it's only best fitting that you give back to government as well. Wage inequality. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm going to state the fact that this is a temporal situation. You are not an employee, so you are not technically in that wage inequality sector. What I'm basically saying is that you are not employed within that sector. You are giving back. Basically, I'm unemployed right now, but government is funding me. Basically, it's giving me money. The least I can do is try to do something. Because I'm busy picking up papers every day to help government, doesn't mean I'm employed within that sector. It means I am merely giving back to government. So the wage inequality, that is for workers that are permanently employed. And in this debate, we're talking about the temporal situation. Therefore, that has no relevance as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel that the counter policy brought forth by the opposition has so many holes. In the sense that firstly, they were telling us give them jobs. However, they said there's no jobs. And secondly, if we look at it in a realistic point of view, all different structures in government have problems. What they're saying to us is, let's fix the problems. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not against fixing problems. Let's fix problems everywhere. That's a good thing. What we're saying is that let us have a practical idea. By telling practical suggestions, by telling us let's fix problems, basically you are not saying anything. You're just telling us, yeah, let's just fix it. How are we supposed to fix these problems? How are we? They did not explain to us how their counter solution even stands in this debate. Ladies and gentlemen, also exploitation. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel that this is one of those points which was brought up, which was not well elaborated, for the fact that if you're working temporarily, it's just for like 6 months, 7 months. How are you getting exploited? How are you getting exploited by giving back to government? Does that mean you giving back to government after government's giving you money is a form of exploitation? In that sense, with all government employees are exploited. Let's all strike. Ladies and gentlemen, basically I have came here and given you the main points. I've shown you how they do not exist in this debate. Ladies and gentlemen, they came here selling us dreams of a solution or counter solution with zero practicality. They came here, brought up issues which were not even relevant in this debate, such as equality, work equality. So ladies and gentlemen, our in summation, what did we come here to tell you? We gave you a solution, a policy, which we feel that is going to benefit not only the government, but you're going to benefit the individual, society, and government as a whole. What am I saying by this? In simple terms, what I'm saying is that if government looks after you when you need help, because these are people who are taxpayers, you need to understand that 25% of my salary every month has been going to government. Now I find myself in a situation where I don't have a job. I feel like it's best fitting that government says, you know what, we really appreciate taxpayers, and for that we will look after you. It's only fair that government also responds to us, and the fact that we are keeping you at a certain level while you try to look for a job. Once you get a job, you go back into the sector that contributes to tax. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we try to do. The more money government gets, the more they can look after their people. So ultimately, that's what our debate is about. This policy will help benefit the government, first of all, by letting them have people in sectors where people are needed. There's so much, for example, papers and dirt on the floors, on the streets. There's so many streets in South Africa. You can't tell me that you have enough people to clean up the roads, for example. That is impractical. Ladies and gentlemen, we need people everywhere. We need people to be picking up paper. We need people in legal aid. We need people in different government sectors. So what we are doing is we are merely just putting people there to assist government. Ladies and gentlemen,
maybe we should already.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, the motion today has been clearly stated as this House believes that the unemployed should be made to work for their welfare money. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I, as a third speaker from the opposition, have a responsibility to summarize, analyze, and rebut. My responsibility today is to tell you what has been happening in this debate so far, what we came forth and gave to you as the opposition, and what the beautiful proposition came forth and gave to the House today. Now, before I go any further, allow me to skip to my first job criteria, rebuttals. Now, the first speaker from the proposition came forth and said that 3 billion rand is spent on UIF money. Ladies and gentlemen, these unemployed people have been paying into the UIF fund when they were still working. How then do you make these same people work for that money they worked for when they were working? Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, that point falls flat to when we take that point. They came forth with a vague definition, ladies and gentlemen. They came forth and said that people must work, and they must work in companies from where? Ladies and gentlemen, keep standing, sir. The elderly are people too. They were previously unemployed. Ladies and gentlemen, they did not state that unemployed are people who are seeking jobs. Are we saying now that the elderly must work now because they are unemployed and are getting welfare? Therefore, that definition, ladies and gentlemen, it's vague and therefore falls flat to take it.
So how do you feel the government needs to claim their money back? The majority of the subsidies that they give are to the UIF.
Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like the proposition, what they're doing here, is spending more of the government's money than they actually. Ladies and gentlemen, welfare is already expensive as it is. Now, they're suggesting training. Training with what money? They're suggesting that companies be subsidized by government. With what money? Ladies and gentlemen, the proposition is confused. Ladies and gentlemen, not taken, sir. The second speaker came forth and said that children are not getting the money. Hence our policy, ladies and gentlemen, which says that we would rather focus on strictly regulating the welfare system to strengthen the already regulations that are put in place. Reevaluate, reassess, look, and make sure that the people who are getting the money are the right people. Ladies and gentlemen, they came forth and said that you must employ them in their preferred sector. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's jobs in their preferred sector, why aren't they working? Ladies and gentlemen, they said that we must give them training if their preferred sector has no jobs. With what money? More expensive, ladies and gentlemen. Take it, sir.
Ma'am, I'll ask a question we've been asking, and please can you answer it this time. How is government supposed to get their money back which they're contributing?
They are money back. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think the politician understands. You said it. The government pays. The private entity pays. The person pays. Who owns who? Who owns who, ladies and gentlemen? They suggest a 10% pay. Ladies and gentlemen, they say that the government will subsidize, and then from there, the people will get 10% pay. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore, welfare costs more than it already does. Ladies and gentlemen, they say that these people are skilled. How can they say that they are idle and then say that these people are skilled? Ladies and gentlemen, that does not make sense. They said training in case of not finding a job. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, people who are delighted and passionate about their work are more likely to prioritize their tasks over appropriate things, ladies and gentlemen. They're more likely to engage with their employees, ladies and gentlemen. They're more likely to work even more hours because they love what they do. Now, forcing people to do jobs they do not want to do is just forcing people to do low-quality jobs, not taken, sir. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the first speaker came forth and said that the government must subsidize companies to hire more people. Ladies and gentlemen, more money. They came forth and said that no work, no money. Ladies and gentlemen, we must not forget why welfare was put in place in the first place, to fight poverty. Now, is this what the proposition is suggesting, solving the problem with health? No. Ladies and gentlemen, they said that the money is available. If the money is available, why isn't the government using this money to create jobs for the people? Ladies and gentlemen, they came forth and said that you are giving back. What are you giving back? You are unemployed. You are looking for a job yourself. What are you giving back to the people? Ladies and gentlemen, they said that it's temporary exploitation. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very important that we understand that rape for 2 minutes is still rape.
Yes.
Therefore, temporary exploitation is still exploitation.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we came forth and we talked about wage inequality. How does one person do the same job as another and get paid less? It does not make sense. We came forth and we gave you exploitation, ladies and gentlemen. Here, exploitation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is daylight robbery to the people. They came forth and said that we came forth and told you that the most unemployed people have already paid to the system. Ladies and gentlemen, the government is for the people, by the people. A government should work for the people, not against the people. They came forth and talked about, we came forth, ladies and gentlemen, and we talked about how this will be more expensive. It's more expensive than our traditional belief or welfare, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about supervision. Is more money. We talked about transport to those jobs. Is more money. We talked about childcare for those people. It's more expensive. We talked about how it will damage the existing market, ladies and gentlemen. It will cost the government even more. We talked about how it limits opportunities for these people to go find appropriate jobs that they want, ladies and gentlemen. Because they have less time, because they're busy giving back. Ladies and gentlemen, low income provided by the state. So it is assistance. It is not total support. Ladies and gentlemen, what about those who are qualified and cannot find jobs and are not on welfare? Those should be our primary people who we care about. Because these are people who actually made an effort to get a qualification but cannot find jobs. Those are the people we need to care about. We need to prioritize our priorities on these people, ladies and gentlemen. We came forth and we talked about how they do not have a chance of promotion at work because they came there to do one particular job. They can therefore not negotiate promotion, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, they give low quality job output, below standard, and unsafe services because they are really unhappy, ladies and gentlemen. This interferes with progress in the businesses or whatever organization they are employed in. Ladies and gentlemen, unhappy employees threaten businesses and can also feel like they're in a sinking ship. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the misery often spreads through the office like a nasty influenza, ladies and gentlemen, because now we have these people who negatively affect business operations where we can have instances where projects can either run over budget or clients can be left neglected. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore the point of the proposition was read through and we take that point. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget why we're here. Let's not forget why welfare was put in place in the first place, to work for the people, to alleviate poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you of our policy. This House believes that we should rather focus on strictly regulating the welfare system to strengthen the already existing regulations. Thank you,
Okay.
Greetings to the House of Chamber once more. I'm the reply speaker from the opposition government. And what I'm here to do is compile and contrast what we came up here and gave you and why they came up here and gave you and why we deserve to win. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me move on to my duty. Now, the wonderful proposition came up here and gave us a policy that says that the new pay for these people, we should take 1% from their salary, 1% from the company, and then the government subsidize the rest. How did we rebut that? We rebut that by saying that the same tax that these people are coming up here saying the UIF has 14 billion is from the same people who were employed previously and are now unemployed. That's why we are saying that they should not work back for the money they've already worked for. They came up here and said that if we don't get jobs for these people, then we should give them training. We said with which money? Because the same money that is going to welfare is the same money they were taxed while they were working. So they deserve that money because they contributed to that money before they got retrenched or unemployed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we came up here. We told you. I think there was a misunderstanding that the proposition didn't understand the policy that we gave forth. Our policy was saying that we should rather focus on strictly regulating the welfare system and strengthen the already existing system. Why did we come up here and say that? Ladies and gentlemen, we clearly explained that we need to strengthen this because at this present moment, money, these people, we can't take them back to work because they still need a chance to go look for their jobs. We came up here and told you that while these people are given that welfare money, which is the money they deserve because as the defined unemployed people were people who were employed previously, those people had already contributed to the money they are getting right now. They came up here, all they said was that these former taxpayers should now work, give back to the community. How do I now give back to the community where else I already gave to the government the money they taxed me while I was still an employee? It's not fair on people. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what did we come up here and told you? We told you about wage inequality. I think the proposition fairly misunderstood the motion saying these people should work for their welfare money. Welfare money, we do not mean by them coming here and saying we should compromise. No, compromising is a different topic for another day. Today we're talking about welfare money. This welfare money that they're receiving right now, they should go back and work for it. This is what the motion says. Now what they come up here as their policies, they come tell us that no, let's rather subsidize from the government, from the company and all that. That now doesn't become welfare money and falls outside the topic. We came up here, clearly gave you our counter policy. Clearly gave you the parameters that they failed to state to the House at large. Therefore, the opposition deserves to win. Because we gave you valid reason on why a person cannot work for the money they gave to the government. Again, they cannot work twice for the money they already earned. We came up here and told you about the money regulation, that these people should be closely monitored with the money that they're using and utilize the basic education system and all the systems that already exist in our country so that the government must not spend more money trying to skill these people who are already skilled. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with that, the opposition feels that
Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Mine is simple. To give a reply speech of what has happened today, I'll show you the points that we raised, I'll show you the points that they raised, and I'll show you how our points basically overcome their points and how they said nothing throughout today's debate. So let me move on with what really happened today, ladies and gentlemen. The issue that we raised first, the issue of a policy. We came up here and gave you the how, who, when, why, however. Every question was answered about our policy and no hole was left. And they clearly showed this throughout the debate by poking no holes within our debate. But rather the one thing that they did is open themselves up for critique by giving their own counter policy which did not exist, and we saw this throughout their debate. They mentioned, they just blatantly went out there and mentioned a line with the hope that we'll take that as a statement or take that as a policy. And this line was the issue of regulate the welfare system. None of their speakers have come up here today to mention how this is going to be done, who's going to do it, how, when, why, any of that. And this clearly shows that our policy takes theirs clean. Let's move on to another point that was raised throughout today's debate, ladies and gentlemen. And this is an issue of employing people. They came up here, ladies and gentlemen, and said rather employ people, threw themselves into a big contradictory loop by saying there aren't any jobs to hire these people, but let's hire them. Ladies and gentlemen, we came up to you today and gave you something solid. We said hire these people should the job be available, but rather temporary house them as well. Add this 2 on top of hiring people. So they came with 1 solution. We've given you 2 to the same problem, ladies and gentlemen, and we take that point. Another thing that needs to be looked at, ladies and gentlemen, that they brought up today was the issue of field of jobs. That you work in one field, you're only working in that one field for the rest of your life because you can't acquire any other skills for the rest of your life. And we clean this up, ladies and gentlemen, by promoting skills, and more skills. If you can't do something, you're unemployed, let us skill you so that you are able to do something. And this is an issue that we drove throughout the debate, mentioning within our policy that you've got a month to learn these things. You've got 6 months of salary that you can earn from this as well. We told you that there are supervisors to make sure that you're doing things right. We outlined this cleanly and outrightly, and this shows that way we take this point about the field of jobs and how we've proven to you that these skills outweigh the field of jobs that they spoke about. Another issue, ladies and gentlemen, that was raised is the issue of financing. Who is going to finance? Now, ladies and gentlemen, this was an issue that we cleared up quite simply with the issue that the UIF or something of the sort already exists. It is there, it is money that is spent, and it is money that is readily made available. And this came out, ladies and gentlemen, where they came out and contradicted themselves quite easily by saying, you know what, that money is money that you put out there, money that you spend. But ladies and gentlemen, we agree that they've done this. But our bigger question was, what about the government that is giving out the majority of this money? Should they not get anything in the end, ladies and gentlemen? And this is something that leads me to the next point that they brought up. And this is the issue of double work, ladies and gentlemen, that you work twice. This was cleaned out throughout the debate, ladies and gentlemen, by showing you that you are doing very little work. You are not being exploited, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a rape for rape situation. It's simply an issue of you're doing minimal number of work, you are getting paid regardless, and that is it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the points around that word tackled from outside throughout the day stay about the benefits, ladies and gentlemen. The benefit of having such a policy within our society. They have not tackled this at all. They didn't show us, they didn't tackle the issue of financing, and most importantly, I think this is a big one that we can't leave out, they did not tackle our policy at all. And this is why we want to stay.